Hey, we're the Cola Guys. I'm David.
And I'm George.
We are joined today by the newly minted Chief Executive Officer of the Builders Industries of Central South Carolina, Ben Wilcenski. So, Ben, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Great you are joining us today.
The Coal Guys isn't your average real estate podcast.
Our mission is to give buyers and sellers the power of knowledge through their real estate transactions.
We do this by helping first-time homebuyers realize that there are more expenses that come with owning a home than just the loan.
We also understand there are many times move-up buyers and sellers have forgotten the process because it's been so long since their last real estate transaction.
We make the downsizing easy.
Once you get into the habit of working with us, the process becomes so smooth you won't mind to move.
We are also excited to share with you what all the Midlands has to offer.
This episode is brought to you by Dick Dyer Mercedes-Benz, the first Mercedes-Benz in South Carolina.
Let's begin a little bit because a lot of people probably don't know anything about your organization if they're not a member. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what the Builder Industry Association is all about.
Sure, yeah. The Building Industry Association, or the BIA, I'm probably going to refer to it as, formerly the Home Builders Association, or the HBA. We changed our name a few years back to be a little more representative of our membership. We are a trade association for everything having to do with residential and construction and commercial construction. So, I mean, you think immediately of home builders, of course, and we do have about a third of our membership is home builders, remodelers, land developers, people like that. The other 2/3 are everybody else that has anything to do with building, selling, remodeling, anything to do with the home process whatsoever. So all the way through. So we have about 650 members right now, awesome. Which is a good number. I definitely want more. So if you're in the construction business at all, please come and join the BIA. We'd love to have you. In fact, I believe you guys are members as well. We have a sales and marketing council, so we have a lot of real estate agents, mortgage bankers, lawyers, attorneys, closing attorneys, people like that. So our sales and marketing council is very active for that segment of our membership. Awesome. We have remodelers council, a high performance building council, land development council, commercial builders council. So little subgroups within the BIA. So a large trade association, and we are of Central South Carolina. So we cover Richland County, Lexington County, Newberry, Sumter, many counties right in the middle.
So like the 9-county region that's right here that, a lot of us cover.
Yeah, right in the Midlands, I guess, is what we know it as.
Very good.
So everybody knows about the home show, but a lot of them don't know that this is the association that is behind it.
Right.
So what is the purpose of the home show from your end and then also from the consumer end?
Good question. So we put on the Carolina Classic Home and Garden Show each March. We're the second full weekend in March at the South Carolina State Fairgrounds. There's a couple other home shows around, but they're not locally produced. They're just shows that pop in and out of here. So ours is the big one. From our point of view, it's non-dues revenue. It's a way to get our members and to showcase all the newest, latest, greatest trends and what's going on with building in order to help consumers hook up and find what they're looking for. So it's a successful show for us in that regard. We get to have, I think you guys were there. We had 2 full buildings of exhibitors. It's a fun weekend all throughout the entire time. And from the consumer side, as I mentioned, it's a one-stop shop where you can actually go to one location and meet with the full gamut of home and gardening professionals in our area, see and touch things in person. The internet's great. You can always shop for things online and do a lot of research, which is a wonderful tool. But in this, you come to a place like this, we're at Capital Kitchen and Bath, and you get to see the products and touch the products and see how everything goes together, and you get to talk with professionals and ask your questions. So the home show is a version of that, but all in one place instead of driving all around town and trying to meet with these professionals in their place of business, which is one way to do it, of course. The home show is a conglomeration all in one place. So that's how it helps the consumer.
Very good. So what was during the pandemic, how did that impact you guys with your show?
We did not miss a year of the show. It was interesting. We were just looking back at the history, and we didn't take a break. We in 2020, our show was in March. It was March 13th was our opening day, and that was when everything started to shut down that year. But we were already set up and ready to go, and it did impact our numbers for sure because nobody knew what to do. It was a whole brand new thing, and you heard about it, and then all of a sudden it was here, right? So that was a weird year, but we had the show, and then the whole world did what the whole world did, just shut down and went weird on us.
Yeah.
Construction was deemed in our state an essential service, so our industry kept going, even though a lot of other ones didn't. So that was really great for our industry, and our association helped get that done through the governor's office. A lot of lobbying there, but we were essential. Homes became very important. You know, you were stuck in your home. You started to spend a lot more time there. You started to work from your home if you hadn't done that before. So people started looking around like, I really need this house to function differently if this is going to be the new world order.
Yes.
So remodeling became really big all of a sudden. People started moving. People who started working from home in other locations didn't want to live where it was snowing and horrible, and they came down south, and we're still seeing that today. So they now come down here and want to live here, which is wonderful. So home building boomed, and it got just through the roof home building, which was not what anyone thought was going to happen. For about 2 months at the beginning of the pandemic, it was, what's going to happen? We're going to have to shut down. We're going out of business, right?
Yeah,
Everyone was panicking. And then it went the exact opposite and took off through the roof. And then we had supply chain issues and all that stuff. So it was just a strange period of time, but a booming period of time. It's starting to level out now, as you guys certainly know. Supply chain is back in order. There's a couple of hiccups here and there along the way. Labor is our big problem. It's always been a big problem, but that kind of put a fine point on it when COVID came around and everything shut down and the whole world has changed. So we're still dealing with labor issues, and we cannot get enough houses on the ground. We have a serious housing shortage in the full state of South Carolina and the entire country, and we're seeing it here locally as well. So more houses is what we need.
Very good.
So with the real estate market that's booming, like the one in Columbia, South Carolina, a lot of companies are looking for these associations to join. So what are the benefits in particular about this association?
Gotcha. Yeah. So it's a big organization, and as I mentioned, there's a lot of subgroups within our organization to help cater to members who have different, business structures and needs. So we have the Sales and Marketing Council for the real estate agents and to get them together, a Remodeling High Performance Building Council. So there's a way to personalize the experience when you come into the BIA to what you're doing. In general, the most important thing we do is government action. So we monitor all of the local governments in that area that we talked about, the Midlands area. So we go to all the county council meetings, town council meetings, and we're keeping up with those agendas and talking with those elected officials. There's always a way that governments very much impact our business, because there's zoning and regulations and permits and all these different things that the government control. It's a highly regulated industry, home building. So we have to get in there and make sure it's fair for our members so they can continue to build and do affordable housing, do it the right way. We all live here, we're residents, so we're not trying to ruin anything, we're trying to make it better. So that's a huge part of what the association does for our members and for the community is keep housing going and keep it affordable, which Columbia, South Carolina is a great market. It is a lower price point, I guess, than other markets around our area. It's affordable living here in the South. And I think that's another reason why we're having this great population influx from people moving out of the north, where it does cost more to live. It's a higher wage in living. So coming down to Columbia, South Carolina is great. So in addition to government, we do education for our members. There are educational opportunities. There's networking opportunities. We try to get everyone working together. Builders certainly do. I mean, how many trades touch a house? It's like 50 different businesses work on one house, right? From the guy that's doing the sticks and bricks all the way to the finishings like this in the kitchen and the appliances and all that. So we represent all those people. It's just, it's a fun organization, but it's very business minded, and we try to keep everyone in business.
Yeah. So what's an example of like a win y'all have had on behalf of the association for your members and the public, through your efforts, being involved with local government and the builders and the homeowners?
One, as we just talked about, was in the pandemic, we were deemed an essential business. That was a huge win. If we had not gotten that, our members most likely would have gone out of business, and I don't know what would have happened with the local economy around here. So getting that was a big win in recent times for us. There's been many over the years. Sprinklers in homes comes to mind as a big win. There was a big push to have in-house sprinkler systems in every new home, which makes sense from a fire safety point of view, but it makes a lot more sense in a commercial atmosphere than it does in a residence. The price would have just driven so many people out of the market if that would have gone through. So that was a big win for us to not have sprinkler systems in homes. There's, the zoning, the code cycle is every 3 years, so we're very involved with that, and that goes through government channels as well. We're in a brand new code that just started in January of this year. But our members go through the first drafts of those. They read everything. It is an arduous process every 3 years to do this, but it's very important because just by changing one little piece of code, you can add thousands of dollars to the price of a home. Yeah. And again, there goes your affordability right out the door. So we're watching the codes all the time, and every code cycle we have South Carolina modifications. So even though it's a national code or an international code, there are modifications by state, and we help make those modifications so it makes sense. We're still making safe houses. The code is a very robust code, but it's not a one-size-fits-all. You don't build houses the same way here that you would up in Montana at all. It's a totally different process. So we have to be mindful of that.
As you had mentioned earlier, in central South Carolina, affordability is key. A lot of people are moving from the northern states to get the affordability that they want down here.
Right.
But with the increase in the number of people moving down, what is the demand for new homes to continue to be built?
The demand is very high, and we're off kilter right now. And supply and demand, I'm not an economist at all, but I know the law of supply and demand, and that is driving everything that we're seeing now. Home prices went up during the pandemic. I think, what was the number? I think you said it on another podcast.
It was like almost 20% annually for like 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Now it's backed off.
Right, a little bit. So starting to ease back down to normal. So we've seen the price increases, and that was all supply and demand.
Yeah.
Completely supply and demand issues there, and we're still seeing that. So we have, we're in the hole when it comes.
Tune back next week as to why Central South Carolina is in the hole when it comes to building homes and how this problem can be addressed.